Haha, here we are. It is launch day for my new book, which I'm really excited about. Thanks for anybody who's watching and supporting this. I'm over the moon excited. This has been a 8 to 9 year process for me of getting ourselves. John just said can't hear. Are we? Let's see. I think we're good. Let's see if Jade or somebody else can respond. I can hear. Okay, perfect. Thanks. Awesome to see people here, and I really appreciate the support. This is something that has been in the works for 8 to 9 years, and has evolved within my organization, within my marriage with Brooklyn, and with our kids and our family, and all of that. And it's been really awesome this last year to be working on this project and be able to get it to the place where it's ready and in a book form to be able to share with everybody. I'm super passionate about the concepts that are in the book, the dreams concept, the intentional living, the living life by design. There's a lot of different phrases for it, and through COVID this last year, I felt like this was the right time for this book to come out and for the concepts to be available for everybody. And the reason that I feel so great about it is I've been able to see firsthand kind of the purpose that it's given to people within our organization, and also myself, just living the concepts that are in the book. And so, kind of here's what to expect for this. So this is my first time doing one of these live events, but I'm going to have a few special guests that I'm really excited that are going to be joining and sharing a little bit about their personal experiences with this as well. And I'm excited. We've got John Vroman, who's going to be popping on, Amber Vilhauer, who's going to be speaking just for a little bit. My wife, Brooklyn, which many of you know, is going to be joining us also. And then Justin Donald is going to be talking with us towards the end. And throughout, we'll have a few of my team members sharing some of their personal experiences, which I'm excited about too. So I guess now is a good time to share, but the launch started this morning, and we are officially in 2 categories. Number 1 already, and I'm really, really excited about that. That was something that, as I've learned more about the Amazon stuff and how to try and get number 1, it's not a perfect science, and there's a little bit of who knows who else has a book that comes out in the exact same day, and so. I feel super supported by every single person that's in my personal community. So thank you for every little bit of help that anyone has provided along the way. So we're trying to get as many number 1 categories as we can by the end of today. And this is today's fun. This has been a project that I've been working on for a long time, and today is kind of the culmination of all of that. And then the idea and everything really stems from today to continue in organizations and families alike. So I want to get right to our first guest, John Vroman, who every time that I get the opportunity to talk with my good friend John, a lot of you guys know John Vroman, past career in Cutco, went on to be one of the top rated, I think the number 1 rated college circuit speaker, and then now doing phenomenal work running the Front Row Dads community. And that's the community that I would say has helped me become the father that I'm excited to be the most. And I take so much away from my conversations with John, as well as the other guys that are in the Front Row Dads community. So the reason that I wanted to get John on is that John has had exposure to this concept in the past. John's also having me or giving me the opportunity to speak to the Front Row Dads community and lead them through some of the dreaming exercises as well. So I figured I'd give John the spotlight here, and I really appreciate, John, you supporting me on this day and this journey as well.
Dane, the only thing that's more exciting than the fact that I just moved into my dream home is that your book launched today. And so, I mean, there's only one thing that could distract me from my house, and that's your book. And I'm so happy for you, man. It's a big day. Our entire community is behind you, behind the concept, behind the book. And not just the fact that you put out this book has actually changed some of the conversations I've been having with my wife and my kids and partners in my life for different projects around dreams. Like just being in the atmosphere of dreaming has been really inspiring. Loved our conversation on the podcast. And man, watching you live your dreams is really cool too, man, because you're not just writing the book about it, like you're doing it. You're out there inspiring people in the dream stream and all the other different ways, and dude, I'm thrilled. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for our front row dads that they get to dig deep with you on this. And these guys are going to be using it for their business and their families. And that's the best. I think that's the ultimate win, is when everybody benefits from a concept. I mean, that is the most harmonic idea. When one thing impacts many. I'm radically sold out on this idea, and it's changed my life. I know it's changed yours, and it's changed all the people you've taught it to.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that a ton, and watching the concept grow within our organization. You were at, I think, the exact same event I was when Matthew Kelly spoke, right? You were there in 07. Yeah, and so that was the start of this whole thing, and then it kind of just lay dormant for me, anyways, for 4 or 5 years after that, and then kind of brought it back into the forefront, and it's grown ever since. And the Front Row Dads community has just seemed like a perfect place for that to grow, with the whole concept of not two lives but one, right?
Yeah, and it's such an important reminder. I always talk about, it's not always new, it's true. It's what's true, right? It's not always obsessing about the novel ideas, but it's about doing the ones that actually work, and asking people about their dreams, and exploring your own dreams, and knowing what pulls people forward, what lifts people up, what calls them into adventure in their lives, or into purpose in their lives. What could be more important than that? I think about really getting to know my wife. It's knowing her dreams. When it comes to knowing our employees, or our team, or our contractors, or our staff, or whoever it is, if you want to really know something, you gotta.
Oh, just moved into the dream house.
Did I lose you?
Oh, there we are.
Am I back?
We're back.
I guess when I get a phone call, it boots me off. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. So anyway, I think I got my point out there.
Yeah. And John, I also say, watching you publish your first book, I can still remember that whole, process and release and all of that. And it's interesting because, not having done it before, having no idea like what goes into it, and now going through it, it's, totally different level of understanding and respect for all of that. And so I appreciate having, not just one, but a handful of guys in the community that you've created that have kind of blazed that path, and made it a lot easier for somebody like me to go through. And these just came in. So people were able to get my book somehow before I even had a copy. So I finally got a copy, which I'm excited about. But this is, these just came also, which are ready to roll for the Dad's Retreat, which is great. So it's a whole dreams journal that we'll be able to bring and use it at the brainstorming session. So it's been great.
Dane,
Amber,
what I'm so excited about?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll share. It's a 30-second thought. Is the other thing that gets me really fired up, Dane, about your book and about this concept and about the conversations, is that it is fascinating to think about the ultimate impact of this, the ripple of this, like what happens to the trajectory of somebody's life when they start dreaming differently. Like, I'm obsessed with that lead domino concept, that one thing that impacts everything in your life, that little hinge that swings the big door, as they say, right? And dreams is that thing. Like, it's a staple. It's a piece that, and you're never going to master it. You're always going to find new nuances of how to talk about it, how to implement it. But you need a framework, and you need a starting place. And that's why beginning with your book would be great for somebody who's just getting started. But using it, if you already feel that maybe you've mastered dreaming, it's a great book too, because it helps you refine. It helps with the nuances. And I think that's so important.
I appreciate that, John. Thank you for the words. And also, again, I've said this a few times, with the Front Row Dad community, I don't know if I would have, I can confidently say I would not be exactly where I'm at right now with the book and the process if it wasn't for that community, because there's so many individuals in there that just lead by example. And it's like, who do I know that's written a book? And I can go through, so many guys in the Front Row Dads community that just, live life a little bit differently, which is very inspiring. So I appreciate that. And a common thread that we both have is Amber, who runs NG, No Guts, No Glory. I was introduced to Amber by Mike Monroe, and then soon found out that she knows every other person that I know in my life.
I'm a Cutco girl. What can I say?
Yes. Her history dates back to Cutco as well. And then partnered with Amber's company basically in January to help with the entire process of bringing this book into reality. And her team is fantastic, and Amber's fantastic. So I figured I'd have Amber come on and talk a little bit about her experience with the Dreams concept as well.
Well, this is actually a dream come true for me. And I don't say that lightly. I actually mean it. This is a very magical moment for me, because when I sold Cutco in my early 20s, it was a life changer for me. I mean, it really took me out of a dark kind of growing up period where I felt like I didn't have a place in the world. And when I went into Cutco, I discovered who I was and what my talent was. And I felt liked and seen for the first time. And I started to feel like maybe I had value to give to the world. And so literally everything that's happened to me comes back to Cutco. And I remember being on retreats with John, and I was like, God, you were the coolest person ever. John is just light everywhere he goes. He's light and he's love. And so many of you watching right now are in the Cutco family, which is awesome. You're my people. So to be here with John, and then now everything that Dane and I have built, the connection that we've built over the past year, it's just incredibly meaningful for me to be here. Right from minute one, when we had our first conversation, Dane, I loved the concept. In fact, when you guys were talking, I could imagine somebody thinking, what are they talking about, dreams? And yes, we mean like in the most simplistic version of what you can imagine here. Like if your dream is to try sushi, your dream is to ride an elephant, which I remember from Dane's dreams workshop that we did in my company back in the spring. If your dream is to be on a live stream with Dane and John, like, yes, I win. I'm winning this moment. So that is what we are talking about here. How can the dreams that you have create a better lifestyle, create more community, create more strength and high performance and culture and retention in a company, or even like creating something stronger in your own family if you feel like something is missing or you're just not as fulfilled as you wish you could be in your family. It fully applies to every area of life. So when I first heard about this concept, I thought, gosh, it's simple, but it is brilliant. And everybody needs to understand this system and framework for their life and for their business. So it was like, please let me work with you on your book launch. And then it blossomed into something much more significant as I saw the actual application of Dane's Dreams Workshop in NG and what that did to our culture and how it took our employees and made them even higher performers and how it drove retention. I mean, we're talking about it daily. And this was a workshop we experienced in the spring. So I'm thrilled to be here, Dane. I could not be more proud of you and more proud to know you. And same with you, John, all the way.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the words on that. It was awesome taking your team through it. One of the cool things for me is when I get to take, a team, whether it's my team or a different team, through this process, you learn so much about people so quickly. And Amber's team, I messaged her during it. I was like, your people are amazing. And I feel like that every time that I get to take people through the dreams process, because when it's kind of like, I heard somebody say once, like, if you don't like somebody, you probably just don't know them well enough. Right. And I feel like with the dreams workshop, you get to see totally, inside somebody in terms of these things that maybe they want to do or experience or learn that maybe they didn't even recognize because they never put it on paper before. And they definitely haven't shared it with people. I heard in her group, it was like, I was popping in and out of the virtual rooms and people were like, I want to swim with sharks. I want to go on a 30-day hike. Did she?
Did that. She told Kayla she did that. But I didn't mean to cut you off. But
That's awesome. And it's the 30-day, if somebody was like live in the wilderness for 30 days, somebody was, but what's cool are the connections with that. The one I've still been sharing this, somebody on Amber's team said, I want to take burlesque classes. You remember this one?
Yep, I do.
And
she did that too.
yes. And so somebody said, I want to take burlesque classes. And that was on our dreams list. And then during the share portion, somebody else in the chat was like, funny that you say that. My cousin happens to be the top burlesque teacher or trainer in Denver or something. And it worked out perfect.
Yeah.
Those connections happen all the time.
Literally move into their dream home, buy a car, save more money. I mean, develop like relationships with people that they had lost track of. I mean, I can't, like, I have chills just talking about it because it's seriously, I knew it was cool. I knew it was awesome. I knew I was excited to bring you in, but what's happened after that, I never could have imagined it. I mean, and so what I did about a month ago, I said, Dane, I need you in an annual program, something that we need to develop for NGNG, because I want a quarterly workshop. I want something in between for accountability and discussion and facilitation. Like, what can we do together? And John, I'm telling you the same thing, because with Front Row Dads, I feel so deeply about how this can wake people up. And guys, what's going on with the pandemic and the world? It's uncertain. People are scared. And what happens when people are scared is their light dims and they start to get quiet. We need to open people up, open communities up, and get them living again, get them hope. John, what were you thinking? I could feel you wanting to say something.
Exactly what you just said. Well, I had two thoughts. One is, it's funny how one person's dream might could be the opposite, because I have a dream of not swimming with sharks. That was one thought I had. But the other one is, that what you just said is spot on, Amber. I mean, this is a time, there's a dark side of not dreaming. There is a consequence to not implementing the system. It's not like it's neutral if you don't. It's actually catastrophic. It's devastating if you don't, because if you get wrapped up in all of, I mean, I could label this many different ways, but we could just call it negativity. What drains us, what brings us down, right? If we get wrapped up in that, if we get weighted by the view of our perceived reality, right? And that, by the way, is becomes momentum itself, but it spirals down. And so you have to be dreaming. You have to be dreaming yourself. You have to be dreaming with your kids. Humanity needs this right now more than ever. It needs to know what a new future can look like when so much is being rewritten in this present moment, when so many people are asking, what do I care about? Right? When so many people are questioning, like, where am I being programmed? Where am I being advertised to? As media grows, as advertising grows, as the algorithms grow, as people want to take control of your psyche more and more and more, it is imperative that we figure out how to dream for ourselves, that we get quiet, that we get still, that we get out the pen and the notepad or the computer, and to get around people, by the way, get around people and communities that will stimulate that thinking with you, because together, that is important. That's why Dane's workshop is so important. That's because why doing it together is so important. That's why also having somebody lead you through this is so important, whether it's the book or Dane or whatever. And that's why he's doing it at the retreat. It's like, I could tell these guys, I can send everybody an email and go, hey, you guys should ask your kids about dreams today. Hey, you should bring this to your teams. Hey, what about these dreams? And that's, there are people that would probably take it and implement it. But the reality is that the book is another great step, but the best step is to get around a facilitator, that makes it happen. And that is a total game changer. That's a total game changer.
Well, and if I can add, I twisted Dane's arm pretty hard, because we had the same conversation, John, and I said, people need to experience this. And I knew the value of Dane's workshop, which I invested in. And I was like, is there any way that we could do a dreams workshop open to the public? And we talked back and forth. Now, normally, guys, when I'm launching books, the author would say, yeah, if they're buying 50 copies or 25 copies. And Dane was like, I don't want to do that. I want to make it really accessible. I'm not kidding. This was like the legitimate conversation that we had. And he's like, look, if people just buy 3 copies of the book, we'll do a whole dreams workshop. We'll give them the full production experience for free. And this is a $5,000 value. And when we're doing annual programs for dreams, it's a lot more than that. So yeah, I just had to share it, Dane. I didn't want to ruin the surprise, but to ruin the surprise, anybody that buys 3 copies of the book is going to get access to that dreams workshop. This is like the kind of thing that you want to invite your teams to it. You want to talk about it in your mastermind groups. You want to go to any community leaders that you have, friends. If you're a stay-at-home mom, like who are your neighbors, your girls club, book club, like this is just really something that I think everybody needs to experience. And we're only doing this offer right now for the book launch. This is like not something that's going to happen in the future legitimately, because we talked about it as a team and we decided this was the only time we're going to do something like this. I hope that's okay. I shared that, Dane.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. When I get to do the dreams workshop, I mean, that's not a chore at all. It's like I probably get more energy than anybody in the room, because it's like I'm stealing everybody's dreams. And we use the terminology steal all the time, and it's not, it's like you're duplicating, or it's exponentially, increasing the kind of the energy that's in the physical room or the virtual room as we go through it. We've been doing these virtually now as well, and they are awesome. I get a lot of enjoyment from it. So yes. John, I know you have a lot to do, and I think that you need to take off. Not that I wouldn't want you to stay here all day, but I think you're in the car because that's your home office right now until other things.
That's exactly right. Yes. The dream house is being set up as we speak. And Dane, I just want to congratulate you again, man. It really thrills me to see you pursue this dream yourself, and that it's one that will amplify through many, many others, including our Front Row Dad community. I mean, we're 235 in 12 different countries, and that's 500 kids. And I think about 500 kids whose dad asks them about their dreams today. And I think about the connections that will be deepened between dads and their kids. I think about marriages that will be strengthened when men are asking their wives or their partners about what their dreams are and how they can help fulfill them. And I think about how much more in alignment we get with ourselves when we ask ourselves what we care about and what our dreams are, and how that changes the trajectory of our lives and how we're happier. And that I yell at my kids less. When I'm in pursuit of the dreams that I care about, I yell at my kids less, because sometimes that's what happens. Like if you've ever been like super frustrated and you almost don't even know why, you're just like everybody's ticking you off and yelling at people, or even if you're just keeping it inside, maybe you're not a yeller, but you just get all frustrated inside. A lot of that is because you're just not in alignment with what's really what you're here for. A lot of your pain, a lot of your misery, a lot of depression, a lot of sadness comes from just doing things you shouldn't be doing every day. And, and I think about the pain that you're going to alleviate through this process, Dane. And I just tip my hat to you if I'm normally wearing it. I would tip my hat to everybody and say, mad props. Congratulations on hitting number 1. Congratulations on all the work you've done in your life to get you to this point. Because you didn't write a book over the last 3 months, 6 months, last year. You didn't do all this. You've been doing this your whole life, man. Every moment, every pain that you encountered, every obstacle that you overcome, every dream that you chased, the one that you missed, the one you nailed. You've been doing the work for a lifetime, and that deserves massive standing ovation. So props to you, and props to you, Amber, for being the absolute go-to gold standard of book launches. If anybody launches a book and they don't use you, I'm just very sad for them. You're first class all the way. I love you guys. I'm gonna get going.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Tell Tatiana we say hi.
Hey, Dane, can you steal the floor for one more thing?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the comments and people are like, I'm buying 3 copies. I'm coming to the workshop. And it's really great. I just wanted to make sure it's really clear how to get access to that, if that's okay. Mm-hmm. I'm going to share my screen for just a moment. If you guys go to the dreammachinebook.com, because I imagine some of you are going to Amazon, which is great. But what you want to do is come to the dreammachinebook.com. And if you just scroll down, step number 1 is to order on Amazon. That's going to open up in a new tab where you can order. Make sure to hit quantity 3. Although if you want to hit quantity 30, I mean, I'm only going to congratulate you. But then what you're going to do is you're going to come back here to step number 2, which is to access your bonuses. Here is where you can access bonuses if you only ordered 1 copy. I'm hoping all of you order 3 or more, in which case you can access your bonuses right here. We only need to collect your name and email address to be able to deliver you the unique access code to this private event. And if you scroll down, you're like, I'm not sure, what are all of the bonuses? Well, you can see them here. If you get 1 book, if you get 3 books, that's when you're going to get private access into Dane's Dream Workshop. 30 copies, you have a really awesome bonus where you can actually have a one-on-one strategy session with Dane about a custom workshop to your community. And then if you're wondering, what is this book about? You can come down here. Who is this Dane character? We definitely have some amazing discounts if you decide that you want to order more copies for your employees, your mastermind group. We have several people watching that have 100 people in their mastermind group. This is such a great retention gift, especially if you're headed in toward renewals for your mastermind or your membership. So anyway, come here. This is where you're going to access the bonuses. And if you need any support whatsoever, just go to daneespegard.com. You'll be able to click into the contact page, and then our teams will be able to support you in that way as well.
And that is why Amber's the best. Is for exactly that. Amber, I'm reading right now the Dan Sullivan, Ben Hardy, a book on who, not what.
Yeah, great book.
Right? And this is a perfect example of that.
Thank you.
Yes, you're awesome, and thank you for that. Everything that John Broman said.
Everything that guy said.
Yeah, John, I could listen to John forever.
I could too. He's amazing. Well, you all are. Everybody in Cutco is. I mean, that's why this is so special. And listen, I've been doing a lot of dreaming about your business, Dane, and just looking at how applicable this is even into coaching programs and so forth. And for all of you individuals watching, I mean, really read the book and do this as a family exercise to start. Sit down with your husband, sit down with your wife and your kid and look at how could we integrate this into our family and come into the Dreams Workshop. And even if that's all you do with us, I think it's going to be absolutely life-changing. So I'm just grateful for everybody who's listening on the live streaming right now and participating and supporting all of us, because it's all about community and collaboration moving forward. It's not about Dane, it's about the community and the impact that we're trying to have. And Dane, thank you for being a leader and exposing yourself and having the guts to get out there, because this is gonna really save a lot of lives.
I appreciate that. I see comment. By the way, I'm reading the comments, so I thank you for everybody that's commenting. Kevin Hanna, who just commented, was my original manager who trained me in Cutco. So it is awesome to see everybody who's obviously popping on to say hello. I very much appreciate that. So the whole kind of, if I can go back and talk just briefly about where the concept all came from. And I talk a little bit about this in the book, but in 2007, John and I were talking about that. There was a conference that Matthew Kelly, an author and speaker, came in and had us make our dreams list. So I did a dreams list there of 100, and it was awesome. And then didn't really do much with it for a handful of years later. Revisited it when I was making a move with work and needing to institute new or had the opportunity to institute new culture into a new team. So I went back to it and didn't really know what I was doing, but we started living the concept at home, Brooklyn and I, and then started having our managers make their lists. And that's where it started. And then it has evolved since. So we started doing, I don't know if I'd call them retreats at first, but it was more just the Dreams Workshop of helping people create their list. We started with our district managers and some of our sales leaders. Some of their spouses got involved. And now it's grown to be a full-fledged retreat that we do for our organization and now for other organizations also. And in that, the book basically outlines exactly how to do the whole process. So the idea from the book was, hey, if I believe in this concept and this idea, let me try and make a full A to Z, hey, I got the book, I know how to do it. And I think there'll be a lot of people that read it that say, I can do this. And the beautiful thing with the whole program that I'm really passionate about is that you can't really do it wrong. And so, this is one of those things where it's like, even if you just start talking about dreams, you've already impacted somebody positively. And so you go through the dream storming process. Most people, like Amber's company, when we did this, I think the average person had about 300 dreams on their list. It was really cool to see that. And then we take people through 9 categories. Then we do dream stealing and sharing. And so it's small groups. The bonds that happen in that are awesome, where people are going through and learning about other people that are in there that they've maybe been working next to remotely or physically next to for a long time. And maybe the conversations are surface level about, hey, what'd you do this weekend? Or, hey, how's the family? Right. But not really understanding maybe what makes that person tick at a deeper level. And so we go through that. And then the last thing is we actually give space to doing some planning and taking action. And so it's doing research, possibly doing something as big as booking a flight or just sending some inquiries out there, or calling a friend about a concert they want to go to, or there's a ton of different things. And the cool thing is that the dreams can be big, they can be small. The last thing I want to mention with this is that the idea behind all of this is that it's meant to be something that's super low maintenance. And so, and John kind of referenced that, and Amber, you referenced that as well. So what I mean by this is, you put it out there, you start this conversation you within your team, within your family, and then it's not something that's a chore. It's not like I don't have to go to my team and be like, hey, are you guys doing the stuff that's on your dreams list? The conversation totally changes, and now it makes work the vehicle for somebody to live, the life that they want or what they're excited to pursue. And I think there's so many people that get stuck, hey, I need to know what my purpose is, and they define their purpose by the job that they do. And really that's a really tough place to be if that's what you're looking for, is having a job that absolutely lines up. There's a lot of people that search and search and search forever. But what if the job was the vehicle for them to be able to say, hey, look at how exciting my life is, and work is enabling that. And that's what we get to have conversations on our team, which is, a sales goal or something else isn't, hey, do this because we're trying to hit a goal. It's, hey, how can this impact, the stuff that's on your dreams list? And there's a few people I think that are on right now from our team that I had asked to maybe share. I think Alex might be on. Yes. Colleen, I think, is on as well. Awesome. So, these individuals are 2 people that have really run with the whole concept. So I did an extended interview with Alex, but his story is so awesome. He got introduced to the idea 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, made his first list. Alex, what was like the first time that you went through the process? How many did you write down on your list?
I think it was around 250 dreams.
How many do you have now?
900.
Wow.
So there's not a record, but I think that's it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not meant to be a contest, but Alex, in this situation, we did it again. We do it annually, so we did it again this August. And Alex's list, he had 800 and some. I'm like, oh my God, that's incredible. So
Well done.
How he has so many though is he's a chronic stealer. He takes everybody else's nonstop. And he also is, he has a ton of different benchmark ones. Can you give some examples, Alex, of like how you've done, anything that's a benchmark one where you have different levels?
Yeah. This August, one of my dreams on there was figure out my path to financial freedom. So that was a dream on my list. And then another dream was buy a second property. And then another dream after that was buy a 5th property, 10th property. So after the dreams retreat, went home, sat down, I planned out my dreams for the year. Well, the financial freedom roadmap was the first one that made sense to cross off. So I did it, planned it all out. And then that got to be one of the dreams, but that got me one step closer to buying the second property, which I then did. So then it was another dream. So yeah, that's kind of, I feel like a great fresh example.
Yeah, Alex is like he's the perfect poster boy for like this whole thing. And Alex is 21. He bought his first home right before he was 20. He just bought a second property in 10 months. And one of the dreams, anybody with kids, this will touch their heart. One of your dreams with the financial thing, talk about how you bought the second property.
Yeah. So I'm from a small town. So I feel like the whole investing in real estate, that kind of thing, I didn't grow up seeing. I learned that from Dane and other people like in my circle. So I always felt like there's a little bit of disconnect with my parents as far as what I was doing and what I was up to and that kind of thing. So one of my dreams, since Dreams Retreat last year, was to buy a property with my parents. And that was a dream that I got to cross off when I bought the second property because I did it with them. So they're a part of it. My mom was down in the cities last night. We got to do some stuff at the house together, which was really cool.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, I have a son, he's turning 5 next month. And I'm thinking, wow, if I implement this with Clay now, where is he going to be when he's 21? Like, Alex, super impressed, man. Like, congratulations. It's amazing.
Thank you.
In the book, we talk about his treadmill marathon also, which that's going to go down as one of the coolest ones. Alex had on his dreams list to how many dreams, by the way, did you get done in 2020?
2020, I crossed off 32.
And how many do you have so far done this year?
38.
38.
Wow.
So he's on pace. I mean, he's going to have 100 dreams in the first 2 years of this kind of concept, right? So he, treadmill marathon, he had on his list during COVID at the beginning of the year of like, hey, I want to run a marathon. And COVID, everything's canceled. He kept waiting. And then finally he's like, well, I guess I'm just going to have to do this on my own. So he did it on a treadmill, hooked up a laptop with Zoom and from some prodding from me. And then everybody on the team was able to celebrate. His family was on there checking in. The end of it was so cool. You want to share anything from that experience?
Yeah. Well, I will say, Dane, it was Dane's idea to do the whole Zoom thing. And at first I kind of just laughed at him. I'm like, yeah, right. And he's like, no, you need to do the Zoom thing. Without the Zoom thing, I don't think I could have, I don't know if I would have been able to finish the last 3 miles. And for anyone who's run a marathon, like that's a tough wall to break through. But for the last 3 miles, I had 20 some people on a Zoom right in front of me cheering me on. And Colleen was on almost the whole time, holding up signs like it was a real marathon. Dane hopped on a bunch, and there were just a lot of people that showed up for it, which was really cool. And there are people who understood the dreams concept for sure and understood like how much that meant to me. But it was also like family members hopped on and other people in other circles. And yeah, that was really special for sure. And Dane created almost all of that except for the training.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was obviously really cool.
That was cool. Yeah, it was awesome to be a part of
it. I've ever heard. Sorry, Dane.
Yeah.
So
No, not at all. That was cool. And then we have Colleen here, also affectionately known as Coco in the Cutco world.
Hello.
But Colleen, when did you make your first dreams list? Like when was that process for you?
I think it was 2018. I made my first dreams list.
And then how long until it kind of like it, kind of like got roots with you, right? Like in other words, did it go right away? Was it?
Well, the concept I think got roots before I made my first dreams list, just because it's been such an important topic that we've talked about within Cutco. But I think I got introduced to the concept in 2017, end of 2017, and it really took over right away. I mean, the first biggest dream that I did was in 2018, maybe 6 months after I got introduced to the concept. And I took a big backpacking trip in Europe, and that was, I think, really the start of just how incredible the concept is and how much it could change for me.
And she went in head first on it too. So she was like, not only do I have a dream of going to Europe, right? But it was like, any idea if you had a ballpark, how many dreams that you like did in those 3 months?
Oh my gosh, a lot. Probably 30 to 40. I would guess, maybe more, honestly.
Yeah. How many do you have on your list total?
Alex has got me beat. I think I've got about 850 or so.
Oh, wow.
855.
That's awesome. Until later tonight when you add some more on there.
Yeah. Alex, send me your list. I'm going to do a little dream stealing tonight.
It's on my dreams list to have 1,000 dreams on my dreams list. So
I love that.
I'm going to add that to mine now too. Yeah.
This is what's cool with this too, is like, I don't even have that many on my dreams list. And the whole stealing process, though, I joke around about like sometimes how minor or small some of them are, which it could be something as simple as Alex had, like learn how to crack an egg with one hand, right? So most people wouldn't call that a dream, but the whole concept of all this is that there are things that we can be working towards. And I think most people would agree that when we're on purpose, we're off self. And so if that purpose is something as simple as, drinking a certain amount of water for 30 days straight, or learning how to crack an egg with one hand, or a big grandiose thing of saving for a big trip or for investment property. And so what I've seen for especially these two and many other people within our team is that they always have something, right? And when they hit this, it's like, oh, there's 4 other things right now that are in the calendar, in the works, and I'm working towards this. And so there's never a shortage of fire with that person of what's driving them on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think I'll add one other thing. I think for me, the biggest thing that I've gained from this is just like having, like you said, something to look forward to. My brain naturally now just works towards completion, right? So I'll have something, even if it's really small or really big, something like, take guitar lessons, right? Or, take a big backpacking trip. Like naturally, I go to completion now of, now that I've identified this thing, whether it's big or small, how do I make it happen? Whereas if I had not had that identification, that it's even on my list, I would never even think to be able to do it. So that's been huge.
Yeah, I would say on top of that too, just getting to wake up every day with so much purpose. And I say this all the time, but it's so funny when when I think of my job as a job, because that's not really what it is. It's just my vehicle to doing some really cool stuff. And I think Dane said it best the other day. He said, so he asked me, so it's kind of giving you the ability to gamify life. And I said, yes, that's exactly what it's allowed me to do. And just being able to wake up with tunnel vision every day of here's what I'm pursuing next. Like, here's what I'm going for next. And then with the dreams thing, actually crossing off my dreams list, there's completion. Like I get to see and realize the end of the tunnel and then move to the next thing, which it just so much purpose waking up every single day. There's never a question of like, what am I going to do today? It's like, I have things to do and dreams to chase.
Dane,
Love it.
Dane, you must be like over the moon with fulfillment right now. Like just feeling like, oh my gosh, look at this impact just in these two's life, like their lives and your team. And then all of these people that are buying 3 copies to do your workshop. It's unbelievable.
It is awesome. And it feels great to have all this. I appreciate the words from everybody.
Hi.
My wife, Brooklyn. Most of you know Brooke.
Izzy. Hi.
Izzy, we want to interview you about your dreams.
She is not talking to anybody today.
Okay. All right. But I did want, so by the way, Alex, Colleen, Amber, thank you guys so much for your support today and with everything. You guys have been awesome. I really appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you later.
See you soon. I wanted to ask Brooklyn to talk a little bit just about we talked about dreaming in the Front Row Dads community. We talked about dreaming within a business concept. We've been doing our dreams list since 2012. And I figured I would ask her to share a little bit of insight into how it's impacted our relationship and in the home front. Can I take her?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
We're not talking to anybody except
even
Mom.
me.
Yeah. Well, just getting to marry you was, dreams come true.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any more on my list. No, we can't go out right now. No, but I would say, so I was thinking about this as I was speeding back here. I think with the family piece, like it just has made our family life beyond what we could have ever thought it would be. When we got married, it was in our vows that we were going to build our life together. And that was a huge, I would say, catalyst for like how we started our marriage. And then once Dane introduced the dreams thing, it was just like, I don't know, it just took off. Like nothing is off the table. And we've been together for 10 years, 12 years. I don't know, 13 years.
It
a
feels,
lot of years.
Yeah. I can't remember a time without.
Yeah. And we've been married for maybe 7.
Yeah,
Something like that.
ballpark like
Something
that.
like
Yeah,
that.
we're great with times.
But, you know, there's definitely times that we go through our stuff, and really what comes, like, gets us to the next level is like, there's a point where we can't fulfill each other, right? Like, you're never going to be able to give someone else everything that they need. And so then it comes back to the dreams list of like, well, what do you need to fulfill yourself, and how can I support that? And so we've had a lot of those recently, where it's like, I love horses. And so it was like, well, let's actually invest in this horse thing, and let's buy the horse and show the horse. And like, and for me, with doing this a lot, that has been something that is super fulfilling to me that he couldn't have done himself. Like, he couldn't have filled that spot in my heart. And for him writing a book, like, I would never be able to give him that level of, or that kind of success, right? But when he said, I think I want to write a book, it was like, absolutely, you should. And so on that note, you know, it's, yes, love. Okay. You know, it's not always easy either. And I wanted to make sure that was talked about, because, you know, you're going to hear all these people that are like, our lives are amazing and dreams are amazing. But from the family standpoint, like, just because you're fulfilling a dream doesn't mean that it's going to be easy in the moment, but is it 100,000,000% worth it in the long run? Like, absolutely. I was thinking about traveling. Yeah. So we took our first people when we first had kids, were like, you know, your travel days are over. Okay, see ya. And we said, you know, we're going to try this. And so we took our first daughter, Elin, to Costa Rica. And I remember that trip being like, we did not sleep at all. Yeah. The flight was a little bit of a disaster, but waking up in the jungle with our baby and our family, like, so incredible, like, so amazing. And we've had a lot of those where, you know, in the process, him writing the book, not every day was easy. Like, there were definitely challenging times, but to be here where he has this incredible dream off of his list, like, so amazing, so fulfilling. So I would say our lives are just, you know, it's not always like Instagrammable, but they're so full. And yeah, I was also thinking on my dreams list, one of my dreams, because I was going through like pictures today, trying to find pictures of us doing our dreams, which I'm really bad at pictures, so I don't have a lot. But one of my dreams that isn't a thing was like to have a great love. And I remember, like, did you cross it off? Not yet. It's a lifelong one, but it's not like it isn't one that you just like, okay, today was great, gonna cross that off the list. But we have been, like, as a couple, that means doing counseling when we need it, and that means reaching out to other people and doing retreats and doing things that we know we need to invest time in for each other and for ourselves. And I was thinking about that, like, we have a great love, and it's not always easy, again, but like, it's more than I could have ever thought or imagined, because we're putting the time and it's on the dreams list, and maybe I'll cross it off, but I feel like we'll give it a few more years. But yeah, we have the ones that we can just like cross off. And then I think we both have the ones that are just like lifelong things that we're just always going to.
And a lot of the things.
Is there someone out there, or did you just put our kid outside?
when we talked about, don't worry, our kid's fine. When that's how they learn, right? Toughness. Yeah. When people make their list, there are certain things that are crossed off, right? So go to Costa Rica. That's, you know, you check, got it. And then there's other things that these are ways that I want to live, right? And so those are ones that whenever you look at your list, it's a great reminder to say, oh yeah, I remember, I wanted to reach out to my family more, or I wanted to get time with these people more, or I wanted to pray daily, or, so again, they're not check it off, but it's more like a reminder of trying to live intentionally.
Yeah.
So that makes sense that you haven't drawn it off, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't want you to get too comfortable.
All right. That's right.
Yeah.
And then, for instance, if with her and with I think that the dreams thing, the concept gives us more acceptance of what the other person's really interested in. So, Airstream, where she had, that kind of combined a few different ones for her, but many of you, I'm obviously friends with most people that are on, but we just took a 1 month trip in an Airstream that she bought last year, a really old one, and like gutted it and redid it. And it was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. I would also say it's a really good, because we do it, like we sit down and redo our dreams every year. It's also a good excuse to like put a few things on there. Like, oh, I've always wanted to go on this shopping spree. We should probably do that. Yeah. I've been called out a few times on stuff like that, but also like the Airstream wasn't on my initial list, and then it was, and
yeah, and dreams don't need to be like a lifelong, like, oh, I've thought about this forever, but it's kind of like with Alex and Colleen, where it's, oh, that's really cool, let me throw that on my list, right? So it's really just an umbrella for so many different things, cool things to do, experiences, ways that you'd want to live, that type of thing.
Yeah, and I think just what I have said 3 times before, that this is, it's been being able to live this way and being able to go back to it time and time again, and then looking at the list and saying like, wow, I didn't even realize that we checked that off, because now we're just in alignment with it. And, Dane, like this last year was really hard, and it was hard, obviously on a global community level, but it was hard personally. And he wanted to sit down, and he goes, what dreams did you do this year? And I was just in a bad mood. I was like, none, I didn't do anything. And then we went through and realized like how many, even, being at home, we actually did do, both personally and together as a couple. And so just knowing too, that once we were in alignment with it, if we're not in a good place, it's still like, it might just be the thing that keeps us going when we're in a tough spot too. Yeah.
And I got to see that with COVID, with our team, where it's, the world shuts down, nobody can go anywhere. We're all, stay in your home, and uncertainty is at all-time high. And when uncertainty is high, obviously, right, people aren't very confident in just what their vision is and what the next 6 months is going to be. And so that leads to a lot of struggles for many people. And when individuals have this massive menu to pick from, their dreams list, there's plenty of things that people can do at home. And it could be some of the health ones. It could be some of the, hey, I've wanted to watch this documentary, or I've wanted to read these books, or I've wanted to do this self-education thing. And so I feel like this allows people to really take control of their year to year in their life, and not be reliant on what's going on in the world, because that's a little tough right now.
It is. And I also was thinking on the way here, I had the little one, so I was just in a rush to get here, but I was thinking about a lot of the dreams that are on my list now and that I've been checking off now were dreams that I had as a kid and never thought possible. Like the horse, that was not in my adult life whatsoever. And it was a dream as a kid, or to create and sell art, not off my list yet, but it was something that has always been since I was a kid. And then as an adult, I got into the mindset of like, well, that's not going to make money, and I have to succeed in these other ways. And now coming back to like, oh, I can just be an artist and live in the woods and ride my horses all day. It's like, yeah, there's some steps maybe to get there, but just to revel back in I just feel more authentic. I feel like living this in alignment with my dreams, as opposed to the goals that I probably had set before.
And I think it helps with the relationship too, because there's a lot of things I don't want to live in the woods and just do art and not. but there's been a maturation process of our relationship where it's the dreams. There's this kind of like the problem to solve is how do we, take two sets of dreams, right, and put them together so that these things create a really, really awesome relationship. Because again, like she had said, there's things on my list that, she has no interest in. I think about like this summer
Football games.
We'll just say sporting event. Yeah. The Bucks made the game, or they made the NBA finals, and then game 6. And I was looking at why I can't go. She knew it was on my dreams list, and I was looking at like work is really busy, and here's all these different things, and it's going to cost a ton for the tickets, and looking at all of that kind of at the same time. And I was like, I don't think I should do it. But she knew it was on my dreams list. She also knew it's not just something that I can just decide to do one day. So she, her response was like, no, you need to go. You need to do it. And I was sharing this on with somebody, a podcast or something recently, but it was, that could have played out totally differently. The one, which is awesome, I would have totally regretted not being there. And I think that this, I'm sure, has happened to us at some point in the past, but I would have gone and been thinking the whole time, she's pissed, I'm not at home, I left her with the kids. And so not really being fully present and enjoying a life, dream. And then, but that wasn't the case. I was there. I was like, I know I had her full support. I could be fully present with my buddy Chris Naku, and that's such a highlight to 2021 because of the conversation ongoing.
Yeah, and it was a hard time for him to, like, it was just a horrible week for him to say, hey, I'm going to go to, or I want to go to this, and every part of me was like, this is a struggle for us to make this happen. But I also knew like he will support if that's something that's been on my dreams list, he would support it no matter what. And I was genuinely happy for him to be there. I think maybe he went to another one, or not another game, but something else right after. And that wasn't the case. And I didn't feel as supportive, but because it was on the dreams list, I knew I wanted it to be a great experience for him. And I knew he would do the same for me. Yep. And I think that has elevated our interactions with that.
So I have a total green light for when the Packers make the Super Bowl.
And I have a total green light for all these horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see it works flawlessly. And you just need to have 14 jobs or start a lot of businesses or something. So
write a lot of books. We need a lot of books.
Awesome. Anything else that you want to share?
No, I love you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah.
And it was the next person who's going to hop on, Justin, I think is here. Yes. So this is fitting, a great transition. So how the book actually just, ended up happening. COVID was going on. This story, I've told this a few times, but COVID happened, in March, and I was working strictly from Zoom, March, April, May, June, into July, and I was super stressed and, like most people. So it's not, this isn't a woe is me. But then one morning she goes, hey, I need to talk to you. I'm going to swear, by the way, so I apologize in advance. I'm quoting so I can say it. My wife goes, hey, you've been being a little bitch lately. You've been complaining a lot. Before I could get offended, she goes, so I think you need to do some manly things because you've just been at your computer. And so I already called Justin, and you guys are going to go to a resort in Montana and do guy things. And so I was like, okay, that took a little different turn than what I thought, but I guess that I'm excited about that. So I went with Justin. He was in the process of finishing his book, launching that out there. And so we had a lot of conversations over the course of 4 days. And Justin basically gave me the real push of you should do this now. I still left I don't know. I went to Brooke and I said, Justin thinks I should do this now. What do you think? And without hesitation, she was like, yes, you need to do it. So you two are the two drivers of that. You're slamming me with bad comments and setting up trips with Justin.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one that, is throwing you under the bus.
Yeah, I knew Justin
Would-
And that's the great thing of Justin as a friend, is that Brooke's like, hey, do you want to go on a trip? And Justin's like, trip?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm in. So basically what you're saying is that Brooklyn is the brains of the operation. I just want to make sure that everyone hears that, knows that, is aware of that. Nice job, Brooklyn.
Yes, absolutely. So I wanted Justin to pop on. Justin, we've known each other for, I don't know, 15 to 20 years. And Justin was in Brooklyn in my wedding. He was a mentor originally for me in Cutco and Vector. And then really I've followed a lot of his advice for a lot of different steps and projects and investments and things that I've done. And more than anything, he's one of my best friends. And I figured having him on to help celebrate the day and really close out this event here would be fitting. So Justin, what's your experience been with the dream stuff and just kind of, watching the whole process come about?
Well, first of all, I'm honored to be on and be part of your launch, because I don't know, if anyone knows you, they know that you're friends with everyone. You've got a million friends, and you're very likable. So to me, it means a lot to be part of this with you. And I've got to say, I'm just thrilled about what you've been able to create, because I think the world needs to learn this. I think the world needs to experience this. And I know at first you're kind of like, I don't know, is this that big of a deal? Or is there this much of a market? And I said emphatically, yes, there is. I think that you can have massive impact, both personally and corporately. And obviously on a corporate level, it trickles down to personal. But I just think that the more people start living a life that is honoring their dreams and pursuing their dreams, the more passion and excitement they're going to show up in life with, just like a zest for life, a vigor for, whatever life brings. And so I think you highlighting this and giving people a bigger picture to focus on, especially in a crazy time of a pandemic where, people aren't getting as much, social exposure, or they're not pursuing maybe dreams or activities or travels or hobbies the way that they have in the past. I think this is mandatory in a super healthy, normal world, but it's that much more important in the times that we're living in today.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it was that I said, well, I don't know if he was coming out with his book, which has been wildly successful, The Lifestyle Investor, and then started a podcast with it and a mastermind. And I've had a front row seat to watch all of this happen. And Roman was on earlier. And so I was telling him it's been really cool to watch other people kind of blaze that path. Right. And make it more of a reality to say, I guess I could do something similar to that. And it really was that we went to this resort in Montana, which really wasn't a manly resort. It was like a very nice resort with like a sommelier and wonderful wine. And so we had great conversation. We did do some manly things, but it was a lot of just hanging out and having conversation. And here we are almost exactly 12 months later, right? It was late September.
Well, that's one thing about you, Dane, is once you put your mind to something, you're just such an action taker. And so, for clarity's sake, I think what they would call it is a luxury ranch.
Yes, yeah. It was a ranch.
It really was luxurious, but we did do one manly thing. Well, maybe a couple. We shot some, we did some bow and arrows, and we sawed, wood with a 2-person saw, like a tree trunk. So, there were a couple of things. We definitely had our own little golf cart that we got to navigate, our little adventure land with. It was fun. And this place is not lit up. So at night, when you're trying to navigate this thing, it can be a little crazy. Dane almost got us into a couple of wrecks. Luckily, we're okay. But I got to say, from the point of talking about it to being 1 year later, and you made the decision to go all in, to just push the chips forward to the center of the table and say, hey, I'm going to do it. I don't know how to do it, but other people I know have done it. And if they can do it, so can I, and they can help me. And that was, something that I took a lot of comfort in, that I had people like Hal Elrod and John Vroman and John Rulin, who had done something similar. And I just figured, well, if I copy the playbook and I've got a story that people are interested in, then I think that it can be successful. But at the end of the day, I just rested my hat on the fact that this was something on my dreams list. Back in 2006, when you and I did our very first dreams list, our very first session, or was it 2007? 2007.
Yep.
And this was October of 2007. And one of the things that I did in this session, I came up with 100 dreams, just like what you talk about. And I wrote down, one of my dreams was to write a book. At that point in time, I didn't even know what it was going to be on. I just knew I wanted to write it. And so, for me, it was a success if A, I could check that off my dreams list, and B, I could leave some sort of a legacy for my daughter that she can learn this stuff that I figured out. And if anyone else benefits, then great, more people benefited. But I just felt good, like it was, like I was successful in the fact that I could achieve a goal and have an impact on one person, my daughter. And I know you've got, two adorable, precious children that get to be the beneficiaries of this legacy. And, the impact is going to be far and great. But even if it were just those two, that's it.
Yeah. It is. And what's been cool too with, Justin talked about the playbook. It's like, he had a wildly successful launch. Who did he use for his book launch? It was Amber and Amber's company. And so, same thing. It was, I wouldn't say I'm super innovative. I would say the dreams thing is something that I have, but usually, I know what my strengths are. And mine is, like you said, Justin, I'm just a doer. Like if something's in front of me and I want to do it, I get things done. With the dreams thing, this isn't the concept isn't a novel. It's not, it's not mine necessarily. I went through the whole process with, like Justin and I think 400 other vector managers went through the making of the first 100 list. We now have put our own kind of twist on it. We have systems that we use within our team to keep things rolling. But I remember reading his book, The Dream Manager, and thinking, man, how cool would it be to have a dream manager? And then later I just kind of figured, I was like, wait, I guess that I don't need one. Like that's just that'll be my role within the organization. And we didn't need to have a person. It could be an organic, build on the team. So
yeah, your dream manager, like I want to say 2.0, but that doesn't do it justice. Your dream manager 10.0, and you actually have a structure for how to implement it. So I love Matthew Kelly's book on the dream manager, and it's great because it's told as a parable, a story, and you get to walk through the life of someone that is through a corporate business person that is kind of learning this path through someone else in the organization. And what I like about what you do is yours is like full-blown facilitation. You have steps, you have processes. You basically take what he did, which I think what he did is incredible and really kind of primed the market and had a huge impact on each of us. But you took that to a whole new level where not only can you implement this with people, and you've done this, I've seen you do this with groups and groups of people, just individuals, not even business people necessarily, just someone looking for, more out of life, and with sales teams. And then you were able to take this corporately and start implementing this in large companies for their teams and for different divisions and departments. And I just see such a huge opportunity because you have a framework on how to do it. You walk people through exactly how to do it. There's no way someone goes through one of your sessions and doesn't have like a huge list of dreams. And so I'm excited. And you're going to be joining the Lifestyle Investor Mastermind next week on October 7th to go through this, this dream session, this dream storming, as you like to call it, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm super excited for that. And that's what's great also is just being able to have, individuals that believe in the concept like you to say, hey, here's however many business owners that I think could benefit from it. Let's bring some value to them. And that, I love doing that. It's a ton of fun. And what I'm doing for Justin's mastermind group, that's the same thing that when we talk about earlier, I think Amber's the one who mentioned it, but it's buy 3 books and you get a ticket to a open to the public workshop that I'm doing in mid-October. And that's not going to be like an ongoing part of, what I'm doing, but I'm really excited to do that and lead a lot of people that I know through that Dreams workshop on the 6th. It's going to end up being October 16th for anybody who's watching. So the 3 books and you can buy them on Amazon or go to thedreammachine.com. And if you actually go to thedreammachine.com, that's where you can actually sign up for like the bonuses and whatnot as well. So
yeah, if you can get some bonuses, get some bonuses. It's like pros and cons to both, right? Like you go to the Dream Machine and you get all this cool extra stuff. But you go to Amazon and you can actually leave a review. But I think it's important for people to know regardless of where you buy it from, you can go to Goodreads and you can leave a review on Goodreads. And often that will populate with Amazon. Because I do think that's really important too, to make sure that people are leaving a good, honest review. This is a great book. This is going to have lasting impact. And this is something that can impact you, but then future generations of your family. And so I just, and then as gifts, what a great gift and what a perfect time for gifts. So right before the new year, kind of get the, really to kind of get that momentum going now to start brainstorming what it looks like so that you can have some momentum finishing this year strong, accomplishing a goal, a 2, 3, and let's call it a dream because it has a deadline. But then going into the new year with this, open slate and all this possibility, these are things that I've used for, over a decade in planning my, family meeting with my wife, with my daughter for things that we want to do as a family, things that we want to do individually so that I can support, for example, one of the dreams on my wife's list was become a certified yoga instructor. She never actually wanted to teach yoga. That was never her goal. She just wanted to know that she could do it. And so she went to this really cool retreat and did it and took one of her friends. And so she was, so ecstatic about that. And, for me, I could tell you any place in the world that I travel to is generally on my dreams list. I love going everywhere. In fact, you and I, Dane, we've been to more countries than almost anyone I know. You and I have done all kinds of travel. And I mean, when I look at my dreams list, the top thing on my dreams list is travel. It's the first category for me.
Yeah, agreed. And a lot of those trips have been, I was explaining this to somebody else recently, that it's like when you have a really well-developed dreams list, right, with tons and tons and tons of things on there, you just look for opportunities to experience them. And so there's this thing that happens that now that it's on my menu, we've had so many different trips from Cutco that'll be, hey, we're going to go to Rome or something. And so what we'll do is we'll look for, okay, well, what else is near there that we can check off our list and have all these other little fun 2-day, 3-day. One of my favorite trip stories is actually from Panama.
Bocas del Toro.
So there's a company trip to where were we going? Where are we going to Panama?
Costa Rica.
And we went in early, Chris Naku, Justin and I, and we went to Bocas del Toro, and it's a bunch of little islands. You take these little boat ferries around, and we wanted to snorkel, and there's a little bit of a language barrier. The guy was trying to take us somewhere else, but we really wanted to get in where we were at. And so the guy begrudgingly was just finally like, sure. Justin hops in and immediately it's super shallow. Foot goes straight on a sea urchin. And there's like 30 needles in your foot.
Yeah, it was brutal. It hurt so bad. And I kept asking him, I've got enough Spanish to get by. I asked him, are you sure we can jump in here? I just want to double check, is there anywhere else we should go? I asked the guy 3 times. He's like, it's fine. And so I jump in and sure enough, I land on a sea urchin. And it's really funny because Chris Naku was in Austin. We actually played volleyball on Saturday morning and then hung out on Sunday. And we literally just recapped this story. And he was telling my 8-year-old daughter how you guys put these, napkins over your face as masks and you guys operated on my foot. And what a painful experience for anyone that's ever, we're talking about spines that are like this big. I went to this amazing sushi bar in Austin. It's the one Joe Rogan said is the greatest sushi he's ever had. So now there's a 20,000 person wait list for this restaurant. So we ended up renting it out, our Tiger 21 group. We just rented all 10 seats, and it was awesome. And then we got to the uni part, and I just, which is, sea urchin. And, I just don't like it even because of that experience. But everything else was amazing. So that was such a crazy scenario. And by the way, there are so many fun sub stories that probably aren't appropriate for this channel. But I could laugh all day about that one.
And this is not exaggeration. So somebody had like a little Swiss Army pocket knife, and it's like, we're on these little islands. It's not like there's a place that we can really go to. We asked the owner of the hostel, like, what do we do? And she's like, soak it in vinegar and pull them out. So we got this little pocket knife and put our medical bandanas on, and we surgically, very amateur based, pulled out as many little, and they were huge. That was awesome. Those are my favorite stories.
It was painful. But you know what? It's those stories that you remember. I don't know if we would have remembered the trip as much without that, because that's the one thing we remember.
Yeah.
And then these guys are like, hey, want to go play some basketball? I'm like, no, I don't want to go play some basketball. And, actually, I will tell this part of the story. Someone said, hey, you're supposed to pee on the, your wherever you land on the sea urchin. And I'm like, no, I don't know if we want to do that. And Dane and Chris are like, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. And I said, no, that's a horrible idea. They weren't talking to you. And so that ended up being a funny topic of conversation where they thought it was a great idea and wanted to follow medical advice, which I don't think it was medical advice, but
Well,
I just want everyone to know that I was able to fend them away and I was safe.
Friends helping friends, that's what we were there to do. Anyway, that was needed. So, but Justin, thank you for coming on. Your tutelage and mentorship through this whole process has been awesome. Even connecting me with not just Amber, but Tucker and his team and everything to kind of bring this whole idea to the forefront. You've been my one of my largest cheerleaders through the whole process of hey, you can do this, and it's meant a ton. So I really appreciate you coming on today and everything that you've helped, having me on your podcast to promote it, you name it.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm just thrilled about what you're doing in the world. We got your podcast episode dropping on Thursday, so I'm excited for people to get a chance to check that out. It's one of my favorites. You're one of the first people to be in this office and in this podcast studio, which is really cool. And, I just think the world of you. I'm so proud of you, so impressed, so in awe and inspired. So keep doing great things. Thanks for having me on. And I'm really excited, for this launch. And to everyone here, just that's watching, please support Dane in every way you can. There's a limited window where you can do this. It's really a 6 to 7 day window where you can buy the book. You probably need to wait a few days before you review it. A video review on Amazon is best. A Goodreads review is really important. If you can get your friends to do it, put it on social media. Really the best way to kind of support him is to just help by organically bringing people into the know about it. And I do think that this book has impact and will change lives. So thanks for putting it out, Dane.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for the tips on how to support as well. I want to thank John Vroman for popping on. I want to thank Amber, Connor and Alex, obviously my wonderful wife, Brooklyn, Justin, Colleen and Alex, Marie Campion also for being a ton of help behind the scenes. Amber's entire team has been awesome as well. I'm so happy and euphoric, I think would be the word, in terms of like what has been happening and all the support and just being able to see, old friends' names pop up in the chat section and people that I haven't talked to in a while to support me on this. It's been really, really awesome for me to experience. So I wanted to say thank you for that. Anything that you're able to throw up on social media has been a huge help. Like I said, we are number one in 2 categories right now. We're trying to get as many categories as possible on Amazon's bestseller. list. And then, so, buy 3 copies and you get a ticket to that online Dreams workshop on the 16th. You do have to go to the dreammachinebook.com website to be able to register for like the event and whatnot as well. So spread the word, buy the book, post on social media. And other than that, thank you everybody so much for being here to support me, even if it was just for a few minutes watching this. Thanks a lot. Have an awesome rest of your Tuesday. See you guys.